All right, we have our next CEO. We have Josh Kaplan, who's the chairman and CEO of InTouch Group. So Josh, come on up. And Andy, I think we're going to go over this side this time around. Okay. So Josh, good to see you. Thanks for presenting. Thanks for having me.
Good morning, everybody. So the first thing I like to do is see a show of hands. What we usually like to do at these conferences is ask, first of all, who loves surfing the web on their cell phone? Just a quick show of hands. Okay. Now, everybody put your hand down if you have an iPhone. Okay. So why is it that the experience of surfing on the web today is a very difficult experience, and we don't see a lot of people putting their hands up, especially here when we're sitting in the heart of Silicon Valley? The reason that we think this is the case is that we think that the mobile web, I don't know if it's broken, but it's certainly in a state of needed repair. You've got very complex and confusing user interfaces. It's a very poor GUI. No standards today in the mobile phone. If I walk into any office in the world and I see a Mac, I can pretty much use the OS, or I can use a Windows operating system. I know how to use my TV remote. Automobile is very turnkey, but with mobile phones, you don't have that level of standardization, and because of that, you're seeing very low adoption rates, and less than 10% of the people with cell phones actually, or smartphones actually, surf the web. So we think we have a solution for that. It's called iBrowse. It's a managed service with a native client. We cache the content, and it's viewed with plugins, which is mobile web browsers, and we like to say it's like TiVo for your phone, and I'll get into that a little bit with the demo. But for the most part, instead of having to manipulate around on your phone, it's only a few clicks to your content. The content is formatted for the small screen, very simple navigation, and we also have an open API so that we can get a developer community to come in and develop for the platform. So what do we have here? The iBrowse platform is a combination of a managed service with a smartphone client. The iBrowse server does most of the heavy lifting. You can think about it as like an advanced proxy server that transforms the internet content into a format that can be very easily interpreted and read on the cell phone by the user. But it's more than just web content. The server is built on a full function application server so that web services and full multimedia are supported. The mobile client is also widget-based. We did this because it allows for very easy access to the information. The client gets the information from the server, and then the client syncs with the server to get a lot of the content. And what we find is that when you're typically out and you can't get a connection, what we do is we can go out, sync with the server, bring the content down. The content is all cached. So we turn effectively 2G environments into 3G environments because the information's there. It's instantly available for the customer. Also, I want to emphasize that what we have as a mobile client is not a web browser. The web content is synced, and it's viewed with a browser plugin that iBrowse manages. What I want to do now is I'm going to take you through a little demonstration to show you how this works. A couple things to keep in mind. We also have a web companion application. This allows the user to manage their content from the cloud. So if I'm in New York City and I want to drag down some other widgets, I can drag them onto either the phone or through the cloud, sync my phone, and my interface changes relative to where I am. So we're not stuck into a staid GUI. So first thing I'm going to do, we're going to go over here to the demo, get that up. So typically, what we find here is this. Get a very powerful phone, you pay a lot of money for, but this is the interface people are forced to look at. So with iBrowse, what you have is a widget-based interface, and I'm going to give a quick demonstration on what we do. The first thing that we can do as the user is we can register, and we ask for small registration information because this allows us to track what the user is doing, find the things that they like. We're taking logs off the server, bringing the content back. And what I want to show now is kind of the TiVo aspect of this. So when I go into my widgets, I can go to my news widgets, I can click on the widgets, pick up any of the content that I want, subscribe to the content, and again we have hundreds of widgets and lots of sources behind the widgets. Once I've done this, I can go in and update my content. I can set this. Here's where you have the TiVo aspect of it, where I can say, when do I want to get my content? Do I want my content every hour, every 6 hours? Do I want it at a particular time of day relative to the content I have? If I have my stocks, maybe I want to get it up until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So let's assume that I've set this up. I'm done with this. And then I'm going to go to my content. And here's my news, and you can see we've got advertising sitting over the content. But if I go down to my story here, say CNN, you'll see that I have my stories are available. I've got advertising sitting over that. And if I click on Bush will back mortgages, what you see is instant access to the content. So there's 2 clicks to the content. There's no waiting around. It's all been formatted for the screen. We're bringing down multimedia. So instead of having to go through, find a web browser, click on the web browser, find my article, maybe tweak around till I get it, our application already goes out once we know your user ID and what widgets you've applied for, grabs the content, brings it right down, caches it on the device. So the user doesn't have to, try to bring his content down. And this means if I'm in an airport, and I'm about to get on a plane, and I sync my device, I can have hours of content to take with me. After we get off the plane or where there's no access, we actually then can resync, find out what the user did, bring down the next information, and they're on their way. And again, we can do this not only for content, but we can do this for live sites. If I wanted to go into, say, Yahoo, you can see this is a live site. And again, what we've done is we've created what we call an on-device portal that has everything available under one umbrella for the user. So I'm going to switch from that since I've only got a little bit of time here left. And one of the things that we did is we went and we had a partner commission this. This was run through 9 countries and 3,000 users. We had very positive feedback on this, which included 70% of the people said this would influence their decision and they would pay more actually to have a device that had this. Business model is advertising, pay for placement, some premium services. The other thing that we're doing is we're going through distribution on memory cards as opposed to going out to the carriers. This allows us to go right to the consumer via the handset instead of having to go through a massive 2-year cycle with an MNO or handset. And we're negotiating to preload this on a number of devices. Closing a C round, and again, we think we've got a very compelling application here.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice job. So, Andy, quick thoughts.
Okay, well, I think a lot of the success of the web early on was about, sites that could cache information because of latency and the problems of accessing data in a timely way. That's not the problem with the web so much, but it surely is in terms of getting stuff on the mobile device, particularly given connectivity issues. So if these guys can really come up with a way to cache all this data and have it personalized, it's pretty awesome. I think it's a pretty cool idea.